Hi. Hey, everybody. I meant everybody. Gonna look at Microsoft here real quick. I really thought that was a little bit of a overreaction, but it wasn't really that much of a surprise that it went down to like the high 390s. Just gonna get to the weekly chart here. Why did price get down to the 390s earlier? Well, it's because that's kind of where the lower Bollinger Band is located. Now, on tomorrow when price opens, it might still hit the lower Bollinger Band. And if it does, that could be a buying opportunity. Again, none of this is financial advice, but if it hits the lower Bollinger Band, generally it's especially during a bull market like the one we've been having, if it hits the lower Bollinger Band, it could be a relatively a good buying opportunity. I think a lot of people after hours have caught onto that and they end up buying that, and it ends up just bouncing back to like about 400, which is a good psychological zone for support. But I think most likely it's probably going to end up going back down further tomorrow. I just have a hard time seeing it not hitting the lower Bollinger Band when the market opens. If they're going to take Microsoft, which looks like that's what they want to do. Now, that's and if we get lucky and eventually hitting the low Bollinger Band, it could potentially be a pretty decent opportunity. Now tomorrow is going to be July 31st. So tomorrow's going to be the end of the month. Where do I think Microsoft's going to close by the end of the month, if I have to guess? And this is obviously it's technical analysis. So technical analysis is more of like trying to figure out probability. It's not necessarily trying to tell you what exactly is going to happen. But if you ask me what's going to happen with Microsoft to close the month, it probably end up closing about 404. Just because you have the Tenkan line over here that is very, very positive sloping. I just have a hard time seeing the month like closing underneath of that. I guess it can. But on the bear market, the monthly Tenkan serve as pretty strong resistance, right? And in the bull market, we actually haven't back tested the Tenkan for about 2 years now. After we flipped it from resistance to support, we haven't really truly back tested this. If we came down, if we wick down underneath, and if we end up getting, the lower Bollinger Band here on weekly to around like the 390s, and if we end up wicking, and if we end up just forming a wick right there, and probably going to end up closing the month at 404, which is a very, very positive rising Tenkan. That's kind of what I'm seeing with Microsoft. I don't have really a whole heck of a lot to say about it. I just think that so far, price just it all makes logical sense. I'm just going to pull up some of the other indicators here. For example, let me see if I put up the wave trend oscillator here. Yeah, it's not really a good illustration for that. Let me see if I can pull up the RSI here. Yeah, RSI gives you a very clear picture on the weekly. Things have just been going up on bearish divergence. Price going up, RSI going down. This trend looks like it's exhausting a little bit. Initially, it's always tough to know how far the bearish divergence is going to play out. Is this going to be it? Or is it going to go down further? We don't know. Do I think that it's probably going to hit the cloud down here in like the 380s? Probably not. I just think that it's going to be hard for it to do that, at least for the month of July. I think it's probably going to find support 404. Do I think that at some point going to hit the cloud again? Maybe, but I just have a hard time seeing it because this is still a very impulsive bull market. And we have price kind of gone up on bearish divergence. I think it just needs to cool down here a little bit. So that's what I thought about Microsoft. The other thing I want to talk about is they had earnings today. We had AMD, we had Microsoft. We can talk about a few of these. I think I also have some requests in terms of Tesla and Coin. And what are my 1 to 4 days or even longer time frame price target for BTC? We'll talk a little bit about that. AMD, what do I think price is doing? Well, to be completely honest, I think AMD most likely was going to close above the red line over here. The Kijun over here is just simply just got to like some pretty strong support zone here on the monthly. So I actually thought that AMD most likely end up closing the month above the red line over here, which is currently 141. And so far, post-market hours after earnings, it bounced above that. So I feel pretty good about finding support here at the red zone over here. And that, to me, that would complete like potentially this ABC pattern of correction. And I just can't really be that entirely bearish. On the 2 month, you see the same thing is already finding support. On the 3 month, I mean, most likely you're going to end up closing about the tank over here, which is again 141. And if it ends up closing above that, you basically have like two inside candles over here for this one, so that probably will end up favoring bullish continuation. This is something that is expected because you just simply price kind of went up really far, really fast, and you have a little bit of a bearish divergence even on the monthly here, or the 3 month here actually. Um, but yeah, you're at some pretty strong support zone, and there's no mystery that even AMD's earning is not blowing out people out of the water. Like it probably gonna want to end the month above the red line just because it's been underperforming is at pretty critical support. So that's really AMD. I mean, it got really close to the bottom of the cloud and really quite hit the cloud. And as it goes up, I think it's probably going to have a hard time getting close above like 149 on the top of the cloud immediately. Probably going to having like a little bit of resistance over there. And you might end up having a little bit of sideways here before breaking out. But I do think that we are starting to see some pretty strong support, and it's playing out. And RSI is just really completely reset. From here around like 94, now price is like in the 140s, and RSI is actually completely reset, right? So you have a very, very nice hidden bullish divergence over here, really allowing price to kind of go up a little bit higher over time. But yeah, like even right now after hours, it's getting close to the top of the Ichimoku cloud. So we'll see whether or not it breaks out. I doubt it, at least for tomorrow. And at least for this week, I doubt it'll break back above like 147, 48, but we'll see. Somebody asked about Tesla. Honestly, it's just not really doing anything unexpected. Like Tesla has just been stuck in a range. After its big giant move up and then it comes down, is trying to find support, and it found support almost perfectly at the Tenkan. And right now, price is just stuck between the Ichimoku cloud over here and the Tenkan down here. There's a range. Can it fall underneath back down to the range to like around like 205 and 220? Can it fall underneath to this range and trade this range before further breaking out above to establish a little bit of a higher low down here? That's always entirely possible, right? All I know that I wasn't going to buy up here, and now that price gets a little bit closer to Tenkan, or even a price break underneath the Tenkan and stuck in this range over here, I find that to be more or less a good buying opportunity. Well, thank you, true viewers only. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you, y'all. Actually, everybody's been very nice to me, except for Evil Mal. Evil Mal's been mean to me. But anyway, yeah. So I just find it trying to find a higher low. How low is the higher low going to be? Is that going to be it right there in the Tenkan? I don't know. It's going to come down all the way down to the red line over there. I don't know. But right now it's stuck in a very tight range over here. So I can potentially see it finding support here going up. Over a few weeks later. I can potentially see it breaking down underneath and then it's trying to get into the cloud and fight the cloud again and go up. But right now, I just see a little bit more sideways. I honestly don't see it like breaking out anytime soon because you have a lot of digestion that is needed to be done with this big giant move over here. The bull in Japan, you're kind of closing back inside over here for this week. And let me see if I can find a Tsubishi cloud. And Tsubishi cloud, you're still above of it. I still find Tesla to be very bullish because it broke above the Tsubishi cloud on high volume. And it's basically simply back testing the Tsubishi cloud over here, bounced. Right now it's stuck in a range. Like, is it going to be stuck between the top of the cloud over here, between like 217 to maybe like 228? Or is it going to be going down further to maybe find some support here around like 206? And that's entirely possible. But so far, this downtrend, like the uptrends on high volume, break out above the cloud. So far, just kind of back testing the cloud, right, on declining volume. So far, so good. I don't really have like a whole lot of things to say about Tesla. I think it's probably going to end up being maybe a little bit more boring for the next couple of weeks, a little bit more range bound to kind of digest this move over here. And then we'll see what happens next. So I don't have a whole heck of a lot to talk more about it. Yeah, massive volume on NVIDIA. The Coinbase chart. Now, if I'm going to talk about crypto, I want to talk about Bitcoin first. Before I do that, I'm just going to go through some of the other ones too. Starbucks, I haven't actually looked at this. Let's see what Starbucks is. Not SUBX, is Starbucks. Oh yeah, it actually did pretty well. I mean, it's not like it's been just so vicious. I don't think like I think a lot of the terrible earnings already been priced in. Um, yeah, I was initially hoping they would get down to like the 60s range before I load up, but I'm not really seeing that so far. I mean, it's still a falling knife though, right? It's still underneath a lot of these resistance, even on the monthly. Like it looks like a very very bad bearish trend. The only thing I think might be going for it might be forming a little bit like an island reversal. If it keeps on going for a couple of months down here, after this big giant gap down, it might end up gapping up on like 3 months later on like not very good earnings. Because like bears are trying to push back down, but so far you have these really nice demand wick over here on the zone. It's still a falling knife though, so I probably won't buy it, but I can see it turning a little bit more positive. The only problem is like it's underneath the cloud. I guess I can see clearly gravity back towards the cloud and get rejected going down. That's also a scenario. So I don't know, if I enter, it'd probably be a trade. The problem with Starbucks is there's no guarantee that this is the bottom because on the monthly here is just simply went way underneath the monthly Bollinger Band and it had to wait for a monthly Bollinger Band to expand before you can go down further. So there's still potential room for it to go down further, right? Because the lower Bollinger Band is expanding downwards. And the 20-month moving average is also pointing down. So you have a lot more resistance up above. I totally see it maybe going down a little bit lower, come back, found resistance, and then whether or not it's going to form a lower low or a high low, that's to be determined. I just don't like how like there's some pretty strong volume here on like it's still kind of going down. I don't like the look, so I'm gonna probably stay away from Starbucks pins. That's another one I think that have also reported, and it reported apparently some pretty unfavorable earnings because price went from like 37 to 31.7. Whenever you have like a candle that looks like this, where like there's not any wick above or below, you're at risk for continuation of this candle. And so far, continuation of this candle proved to be correct. It closed this gap over here, and it got close to the 20-month moving average. So this is still potentially a bull trend because that's what it is. It's still potentially a bull trend. And if you hit down here, if you count the wick, it's still going to be a higher low after a higher high. If you don't count the wick, that's fine too. It's a microphone pattern, whatever you want to call it. But overall, you're still having more higher lows and higher highs. The 20-month moving average is really telling you that. So you're probably going to getting some pretty good support over there. If you're into this kind of stock, you can. But I'm not. So, initially I thought that it was going to have like some pretty good, decent support over here on the Tenkan. But yeah, earnings just like, sometimes you have catalysts and just end up tanking and stock down. So another possible support level is going to be around like $31, which is going to be right around where the 20-month moving average, as well as the monthly Tenkan right around there in the confluence, which is where it's kind of hovering around. I can totally see tomorrow touching these lines down here around 30, 31, and then figure out whether or not you end up waking back above, or we have to see what the reaction is afterwards. But like none of this is by coincidence. It's just unfortunate because over here it looks like it could have held, but unfortunately, like they're eyeing the gap over here, and yeah, I mean earnings they just wanted to tank the stock, so you have some of the lower support levels down here below. I will get to a lot of the crypto stocks, including Bitcoin, MSTR, Coinbase, Hood, CleanSpark, Mara. I'll go through them all. Okay. Before that, I need to take a sip of water. Here we go. Bitcoin. What do I think about Bitcoin? Higher time frame. I think it found support right around 53,000, and it bounced. And I think this probably is a correction down here. I think the next move is probably going to be up. You asked me what when the next move is going to happen. I think it's probably going to happen pretty soon. You have some additional support down below. Do I think it's going to go down to like 62,800 or down here like 58,000 again? I don't think it's necessarily going to be the case. I mean, every single time we get support, and the current support is going to be the bull market support band, where it's doing a very, very similar thing like it did over here, where things looked like it was going to bounce from the bull market support band and get a very, very good reaction. But next thing you know, it just didn't have enough momentum. It just ended up falling through underneath the band, and you have a very, very good reaction underneath the band. You end up just pushing back up, and right now we're back testing the boring support band again today. And looks like so far we're finding support, so I cannot really be too entirely bearish on support. But if it ends up breaking down, where do I think it's going to go? I think it's going to go to like around 82,800, 82,700 range down here at the bottom of the boring support band and at the Tenkan over here. Now, does that mean that miners have to tank further? Not necessarily, because they've already been like not doing very well. A lot of times people have all these misconceptions like, oh, Bitcoin goes down, oh, the stock market goes down, miners going to go down a lot more. Like, it's been proven not to be the case, you know? Like, you remember this like vicious, I'm going to turn off the GAN here. You remember this like vicious downtrend for Bitcoin from like 72,000 all the way down to like 54,000. A lot of people were freaking out. What did CleanSpark do? It did nothing, right? And when Bitcoin went back up, what did CleanSpark do? Right? When Bitcoin went back up, what did CleanSpark do? CleanSpark do nothing. Like, so I don't think that, these miners actually necessarily have to be that sensitive to what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin can totally go back down to like 62,000, like 600, 700, 800, and it'd be fine. I think there's also a good chance that it just finds support right there and it doesn't go down any further anymore, because you have to lean a little bit more bullish as support, right? But that's certainly a scenario I can totally see that it has to form another higher low compared to down here before going up higher. And if you ask me when that's going to be, I'm going to say, well, let's talk whenever we break about this trend line over here. If you're able to break about this trend line, which got rejected over here, if you ever break above, do a little back test, then up we go. Then that could happen within like a few weeks. But so far, it's just still kind of stuck in the range between this trend line down here and between the bull run support band. Now, the bull run support band is also not upsloping anymore. It's a little bit flat, so it's a little bit scarier because it's not going to be good resistance or support. It could just end up oscillating for another couple of months before deciding on a direction, right? Could it potentially come back down and hit the top of the cloud? That's also entirely possible. If you had to ask me what my best guess is, my two scenario that I favor the most is this is it, up from here, back test up, or come back down here to 62,800 range, back test it, maybe get rejected here again, try and find support up here again, and then go up. That's my best guess. When you're talking about the other stocks, such as when do you think I will hit all-time high? Yeah, I think I kind of already, I think maybe possibly within a few weeks, if it's able to break above this back test, and then it would run. And I can see that happening because it's already gone sideways for way too long. And I can also see that happening because MSTR actually looks more bullish than Bitcoin itself. And this is not like late cycle behavior. If like a leverage play for Bitcoin is doing better than Bitcoin, that means whales know something. That means whales want to be in something like this because they're expecting Bitcoin to do better over time. So I think that MSTR, had already back tested the Tenkan here in the blue line almost perfectly. It didn't even get back to the bull run support band underneath. It just found Tenkan over here and just bounced, right? And so far, sure, this week only had 2 days, and we got a pretty bad bearish candle. But honestly, on the great scheme of things, it's just been like doing nothing, And it looks like we have some pretty impulsive bounce down here at the range at the weekly Kijun. And we just bounced and we just kind of back tested the Tenkan over here. It looks like MicroStrategy wants to say maybe over the next few weeks, something more bullish is going to happen to Bitcoin. And yeah, I mean, initially you have this uptrend over here. It does seem like it was going up on a little bit of a bearish divergence. So you have a little bit of a, slight downtrend here. Maybe MicroStrategy can hit like 1,530 and then find support, or maybe a little bit lower, find support again before going up higher. Maybe enter coming back down and close the gap around like 1436, somewhere around there before going up further. But it just seems like it's still a very, very bullish chart here. On the monthly, it is basically bouncing off of the Tenkan, just like what Bitcoin was doing on the blue line over there. And yeah, it looks like we're getting some bullish momentum here with the volume too. So far, I can't really be that bearish on MicroStrategy. Initially, you were just way outside the monthly Bollinger Band. And right now, it's no longer way outside the monthly Bollinger Band anymore. I think it would not surprise me at all if we end up gravitating tomorrow back to the upper Bollinger Band here around 1666, that I can totally see us closing a month right at the Bollinger Band. That's entirely a possibility. And if you look at the weekly, if you look at the Bollinger Band, it's on the top part of the Bollinger Band and it's squeezing hard. So that tells me probably within the next few weeks, a big move is going to come for Bitcoin. If you ask me which way it's going to go, I think it's going to be up. I'm not going to go through too much about price target on these live streams. I just kind of want to go through what I'm seeing that might potentially happen. I still think that this is a bull trend. Like, just look at MSTR. Higher highs and higher lows is a bull trend. Like, there's no dispute for that. Looking at the MSTR over Bitcoin chart, this is interesting, right? This is also forming, for the most part, higher lows and higher highs. So MicroStrategy has been outperforming Bitcoin. It looks like it wants to continue that trend. Again, if a leverage play for an underlying asset is doing better than the underlying assets, I have a hard time to be too bearish on the underlying asset. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. It's just been looking up and up. It also looks like it's squeezing. So MicroStrategy over Bitcoin might also end up pushing up higher if you give it enough time. So I feel good about Bitcoin. I feel good about MicroStrategy. Now, a couple of you guys asked about Coinbase. I think the reason why you asked about Coinbase because you want to know about the short-term price action. Now, I don't trade earnings, right? They have earnings on Thursday. I don't trade earnings. I can only tell you that currently Coinbase is right at support, just like Robinhood, just like CleanSpark. Now, CleanSpark is a little bit underneath the bull support band, but it's just like CleanSpark. Just like Mara, it's right at the bull support band. Bitfarm actually is not quite there yet, but it's close, right? CIFR is actually looking really nice. IREN just came back to, I'm going to talk about these one by one. IREN just came back to this bull support band. TeraWulf got pretty close to the bull support band. BTDR got really close to the bull support band. BTBT actually looks pretty bullish, but you're at risk for potentially going down, right? HUD8, same thing, right? CORZ actually very similar. RIOT is reclaiming the bull support band. So this is what Coinbase is doing. Coinbase is basically doing what everything else is doing. If you ask me what's going to happen on Thursday, I'm sorry, I don't know. All I can say is that it's squeezing tight. The big move's coming. Could it be, again, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. So I cannot be bearish on Coinbase, even though Coinbase has been consolidating sideways for quite some time, right? For like 4 months. But it's right at support, Bollinger Band squeezing, a big move's coming. Is it going to be down first and then up, or is it going to be up? I do not know. If it's down first before up, I would say that the down may be like 200. And you might see a pretty decent reaction before going up. But I can also see it just going up from here. The reason why I say that is because this buy candle over here is a pretty decent volume, and the next sell volume over here, you have like a very nice wick, a demand wick over here, and it's on a little bit less volume. And so far, we're just kind of going back down to the bull support band here. We're at support. I cannot be that bearish on it. If you're also looking at the Ichimoku cloud here, again, it could be coming back down to 200 and find a pretty good reaction to go up, right? I can also see that scenario happening, which is where the Kijun is located right here. Now, I don't really care which way it is. If it goes down, I'm going to see if I have money to buy a couple more shares. If it goes up from here, I'm just going to keep holding what I have, but I'm not going to play earnings. I can totally see some people, if it goes down here, you might buy some leaps or something like that. I can totally see that being a viable strategy. But again, I'm not here to tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm just here to tell you like the probability of what might happen. I think this support might hold. If it doesn't, again, underneath 200, right? Both in terms of Ichimoku Cloud with the Tenkan and Kijun, and both in terms of Bollinger Band. You see a lot of confluence down here at 200, don't you? I'm not saying that it's going to go down to 200, but I'm just showing you there's a lot of confluence down at 200. Do I think that Coinbase earning is going to be good or is it going to be terrible? That's a very good question. I actually don't know the answer to that, so let's look and see what the Dogecoin volume is at Coinbase. I don't know. It's not very good. What about Ethereum volume on Coinbase? kind of a little bit lackluster, right? So yeah, I mean, like that the whole crypto trade has just been on a little bit of low volume. So yeah, so I can see potentially Coinbase going down to 200. I can see that. I can see the argument for that, but I think that would be a good support. Could it wick down underneath 200 and go down further? There's always that possibility, but I think we're getting close. One thing I haven't done for a while. Let me see. I'm just gonna do this right here, and you can see like the volume shelf currently is right at a very strong volume shelf over here. So I'm not sure whether or not it's going to end up breaking down underneath. And we also have been having a hard time trying to break above the zero point 0.5. We got rejected at 0.618 at the golden ratio, which is not surprising, especially in Coinbase was spending like half a year over here at the same range. So I can totally see that it's just kind of ranging over here for a few months. When price went up to here, I thought it was going to go sideways for like 1 to 3 months. We ended up 4 months later, we're still inside the range. That happens. But if you ask me, I think it might be getting a little bit closer to this angle over here. And, again, 200 is going to be a confluence right here, right? At the arc. Oh, man, 200 at the arc and the angle. Like, I can totally see that being potentially a big level here. So we'll see. If it goes down there, I would buy. If it doesn't, I'm happy. Doesn't matter. But you're still at a resistance zone over here. Like 230 is going to be resistance. If I pull up the Ichimoku cloud here, it's like way above the Tenkan still. So I have a hard time seeing it just keep pushing up. I still think the Tenkan probably need to push up higher. And the next month Tenkan is going to be a lot higher because it's not going to count this candle here anymore. So Tenkan is going to be pushed up a lot higher. So I can totally see it kind of meeting halfway, hitting 200, and then just run. Again, I'm not speculating that it's going to hit 200. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. Let me see. Now I'm curious to see. Yeah, so the 20-month. Yeah, that's not going to tell you too much here. If I look at the monthly Bollinger Band, yeah, it's just been correcting underneath the upper Bollinger Band. The upper Bollinger Band has just been serving as resistance. So you still have resistance, that you need to get over. But I would like to see it potentially come down to 200, use that as a spring to go up. We'll see. That's all I have to say about Coinbase. To look at the other, oh yeah, one more thing too. Look at Coinbase over Bitcoin chart. It's just been going sideways, forming a flag. Initially, I thought that it was gonna be. Let me see. Yeah, initially I thought that it had a very very beautiful like breakout of this symmetric triangle and back test, but it ended up like falling back underneath of it. So that's no longer valid. Initially I thought it was like some good symmetric triangle in a back test, but it fell underneath the triangle and it's just basically testing the bottom of this triangle here. So I still think that a big move is coming probably in a couple of weeks. And again, Coinbase can still go down before up, but we'll see. I don't see it outperforming Bitcoin. I don't see it underperforming Bitcoin. It's just been going sideways here for the last couple of months. There's no for the last really half a year, there's no trend. Even for the last 2 or 3 years, there's no trend. So maybe a little bit outperforming Bitcoin here. It does look a little bit like an ascending triangle over here. But I don't know. It's not like slam dunk like a strategy is where it looks like it's just really truly outperforming Bitcoin. If you're looking, hey Vintage, thank you for coming. Thanks for coming and saying hi. So for folks I have started, and I hate to self promote crap, but sometimes I just have to do that. I started the membership. If you click one of the videos, if you're using Android or Chrome, you can see there's a join button over here. It's like $4.99 a month. You don't have to do it. If you do it, I'll try my best to respond to you as much as I can, as fast as I can. If you have any chart requests, I'll try to fulfill it. If you have any interest, so far I think I made maybe one or two videos per week for members, and they're generally just unscripted thoughts. I still come up with most of these live stream videos for free. So if you want to do that, please feel free to support me. If you want to do that, you don't have to. I just want to give you the option to do that. And if you want to really have a lot of questions and things like that, if you really want to somehow let me know that you appreciate it, please feel free to do that. Robinhood, real quick, bearish divergence, I think is finally playing out very nicely. Where price went up slightly and RSI came down. Initially, I thought that was going to hit 20 and a half range. It finally ended up doing it. This is basically a back test of this breakout range over here. There's nothing bearish about this chart. It's back testing the override support band, and probably will end up holding. Gonna go down lower to like 20 or even like 19 point something possible. But yeah, I mean, this down over here, like it's on declining volume. I really have a hard time seeing like Robin going down all the way down to like 15 or like 13, or I have a hard time really seeing Robinhood doing that. It's just a very, very nice bull trend. The only problem I have, and I've shown this over and over again, the only problem I have with the Robinhood chart is really the monthly chart. If you put the Ichimoku cloud, is still way far away from the Tenkan, way far away from the blue line. So it's still at risk for come down a little bit further, but I think it's going to come down to like 13 or something like that. No. Would I be surprised if it comes back down to like 16, 17? No. But I don't really count on that. I think this is probably it. I think it's probably going to end up going sideways while waiting for Tenkan and Kitchen to catch up. That's my expectation of Robinhood. And whenever it gets going, it needs to break about the 0.5 over here, which just got rejected twice over here. The Fibonacci level is around 24. It has to break about 24 and also break about these arcs over here. Then you talk about 30s and 40s up above. But yeah, so far we just haven't had the momentum. We got a little bit exhausted on this move up over here and just been correcting sideways. But it still looks like a very bullish chart. I mean, I can totally see that this may be it and maybe a little bit lower before going up further. But I'm still pretty bullish on Robinhood overall. Yeah, I mean, like, again, it could go down to like 18, 17 and a half, somewhere around there. You can totally do that. Does it have to? No. I think it's a pretty good support. If it does that, I think the lower it goes, the better reward it would be, because so far the selling is really kind of non-committal, and this sideways moves also on really low volume. So I feel good about it. I have a position that I have like an average cost about like 12 or something like that. I'm just going to keep holding. I don't care. In terms of whether or not Robinhood is outperforming Bitcoin, well, initially it was, and now it's not. It's just kind of this is a Robinhood over Bitcoin chart. It's just outperforming and then not, right? But I think it's okay because it's just basically forming a little bit of higher low over here. It might even hit the bottom of the cloud over here. But I still think that Robinhood overall, it looks like it wants to outperform Bitcoin over time. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I know Ethereum. I want to look a little bit Ethereum there. But I have to go through quite a lot of miners here. I don't know if I can go through all of them because there's a lot of them. It's already been 30 minutes. I'm already getting a little thirsty. So it's only Tuesday. Every single time when it breaks about the range, everybody gets super excited. Every time when it breaks underneath the range, everybody gets super bearish. It's a range. It's Tuesday. Bitcoin dipped below, and now it looks like it might be finding support. Again, Bitcoin could go lower, right? I mentioned Bitcoin potentially go down to like 62,800. That's a possibility. If that happens, yeah, I mean, like CleanSpark can be doing nothing. Like the recent Bitcoin dip, CleanSpark did nothing. The current Bitcoin rip, CleanSpark did nothing. It's just consolidating sideways. So do I think that this range, like this line over here around, where is it going to be? Around 16.18. Do I think it's going to hold by the end of the week? I think there's a high probability that it's going to end up closing back about 16.18. And the reason why I say that is like currently, like today's red candle is on like no volume. Like there's no volume. There's this downtrend over here is on declining volume, and today has like no volume. Right. So to me, I almost feel like we have a good chance to close back above the kitchen line over here, at the red line over here. I think there's a good chance that could happen. And it's still going to be stuck in range until proven otherwise. Another area too, I think why it's going to close back about like, the 16.18 range. I think it's going to close about 16 as well, dipping underneath the support band on like, relatively low volume. And looks like we probably end up still getting range bound here before its breakout, right? I'm not really seeing like a strong high volume breakdown. I'm seeing strong volume break up until it happens. Right now, it's just getting boring. Even though the monthly is like a big snoozer, right? it's just stuck between the Ichimoku cloud and the Tenkan Kitchen underneath. It's just stuck in a range for a very long time after a bullish crossover here in February. After this big giant monster move all the way from like less than $2 all the way to like $25, you have to cool down. Is it surprising it goes down sideways for a few months, getting everybody bored? No, it's not surprising at all. Initially, I was hoping that it would close inside the Super Ichi cloud just by price going sideways. But so far, no. I mean, it's underneath the Super Ichi cloud. I do think that next month, it's just by price going sideways, it's going to push into the cloud if it's able to find these blue and red line and Tenkan Kitchen crossover here from the Super Ichi cloud as support. I do think it's probably going to end up pushing into the cloud. And when that happens, it could be relatively bullish. But so far, it's just range bound. Like on the monthly, on the weekly, boring. On the Bollinger Band, it's telling you that it's range bound because it's squeezing pretty hard. Big moves coming. Again, is it going to be like what I thought about Coinbase, down first to like 14, 13, get everybody super scared, get everybody super depressed after it's done nothing? You already worry about the opportunity cost, right? And then next thing you know, price go down and break the range. That could get pretty devastating before going up. Just some food for thought, just something to think about. But yeah, those are my thoughts on CleanSpark. And if you ask me which way it's going to go, I think it's going to go up whenever it's linked consolidating because of the Ichimoku bullish cross, because of what I think about what Bitcoin's going to do. And yeah, because currently price just kind of going sideways is trendless, but the overall trend is still up. So if you ask me what the next expected move is going to be, it's going to be up. Look at a 2-month chart. I mean, so far we only started July, right? The last 2-month candles are all the inside candle of this big candle over here, and the primary trend is up. So after consolidation with these inside candles, I think the next move, if I had to pick probability, is going to be up. And we're getting pretty close to consolidating, and yeah, the big move's going to come. So it's been originally it's been outperforming Bitcoin, and you already knew that. Really from like April 2023, it's been outperforming Bitcoin. Right now, it's just been doing just about the same as Bitcoin, not greater, not lesser. Not much else to say about CleanSpark. Yeah, it's ranging. It's just doing what it needs to do. There's not much really else to say about it. Mara is also ranging. It's just been doing nothing. It's ranging between these resistance up above here and ranging between the cloud underneath. Initially, last week, I was hoping that it would close above the blue line. It didn't, so you had some further downside to go. And you had some further downside to go with like some pretty decent cloud support down here. But again, like what does today's price action mean? Like it means very little because it's on no volume. We have no volume over here, and that really triggered, a reversal on high volume. So far, I do think that this is a reaccumulation type thing because every single time when I look, at all of this, every single time there's increase, like when there's buying, there's increased volume. When there's selling, there's like declining volume. When you're buying, you increase volume, and selling at declining volume, you're buying increased volume, and this just keeps happening over and over again. Because of this volume signature, I think that Mara is actually a bullish chart, no matter how low it wants to go in the short term on low volume. I'm just going to turn off all these indicators here. Just look at where price is at right now. Does it seem like it has a lot of confluence at this horizontal zone over here? It does, doesn't it? We're right at a very important area around 19 to 20, which price has gravitated around here, really talking about like for 3 years now. If you're going to do that, and currently we're back testing it from up above on declining volume, after price oscillated around this level for like 6 months or like 8 months, really, I think the next move is going to be probably going to be up, And I think that if you look at the EMA ribbon, there's like a sell signal over here. Obviously, it didn't really work out. I think these are like a little bit of a noise. I'm trying to show you the EMA ribbon, 20 week over 50 week. 20 week is still over 50 week EMA, and is currently still serving as support. And I also showed you the Bollinger support band, right? It's so far is still serving as support, right? I also show you the Bollinger band is squeezing tighter and tighter. Again, same thing. Is it going to go down to like 15.5 to 16 before going up? Or is it just going to go up from here? I don't know. But things are getting pretty tight. Something happens, probably going to be happening over the next few weeks or so, is my best guess. And because of the way it's looking right now, it looks like it might just want to go up, but I'm not ruling out the possibility of going down, demoralizing everybody, and go up again. That's my thought. Zooming out here a little bit to the monthly chart, still stuck in a range. On the Ichimoku, is stuck between the Tenkan and Kijun. Just like CleanSpark stuck in range. If you pull the Super Ichi cloud, it's stuck in a range too, in between Tenkan and Kijun. Until further notice. It has not been outperforming nor underperforming Bitcoin. It's just been going sideways. If you look at Amara over Bitcoin chart, it's just been going sideways. Like this whole thing is trendless. But if you ask me what I favor in terms of whether or not it's going to be bullish continuation or down from here, it's going to be up, is my thinking. There are a lot of things to tell me that that's the case. 20-month is pointing up. The monthly Ichimoku cloud had a bullish cross. A lot of things are really saying that, it's probably going to end up going up, but it's just been consolidating sideways, and we just got to be patient. Bitfarms. It's basically the same exact chart as Mara, except that it's broken above the monthly Tenkan, except that it does look a little bit more bullish, just overall, but it's the same chart. It didn't really quite come back down to this level. It didn't really quite break above this level. It's just stuck somewhere in between. There's really not much else that I'm going to say about Bitfarms. I'm not going to say about Mara. Putting up the Ichimoku cloud, hitting the top of the cloud here. Good support, stuck in a range between Tenkan and the Ichimoku cloud underneath. Looking at the Bollinger support band is currently above of that, so it's still leaning bullish, but it's flattening. Looking at Bollinger band is about the Bollinger band on the upper part of the Bollinger band, and looks like it's kind of squeezing too. It's not squeezing as hard as CleanSpark or Mara, but it's squeezing too. So bigger moves probably going to come. Do I think that this whole thing right here is a reaccumulation? Yes, because again, downward volume is declining, up volume is up. Up volume is up, down volume is down. Like these just look like reaccumulation to me. It's not really outperforming or underperforming Bitcoin. If you look at the Bitfarm over BTC chart, it's just roughly performing about the same as Bitcoin since like December 2022. It's basically the same exact technicals really compared to Bitfarms to Mara. I'm not going to have much to say about it. CIFR. I'm still bullish because I still simply think it's coming back down. I think it simply broke about this 5.5 range and found resistance up here at this range over here. The resistance is actually going to be, pretty clear here on the monthly. Actually, no, on the 2 week. Yeah, it's pretty clear. It got rejected right up like 7.8, 7.9, around $8. Come back down. Where is it going to come back down to? Well, it's going to come back down to hit some of the support zone down here. It couldn't hold the Tenkan and couldn't get down to the Kijun down here. It just kind of stuck right here. I think this probably is the correction that we need now. Can it go sideways for another couple weeks or so? That's entirely possible. But I think this is probably going to be the correction, maybe all the way down a little bit further to like 5.2. It could even go all the way down to like 5. But I think that's probably going to be it for CIFR. It broke out on high volume and is back testing some of the stuff down here in low volume. So the lower it goes, the better risk reward it is. And it's just basically forming a higher low, and I find that there are some pretty decent support. Can it go down a lot further down to like 4.5 to hit the Bollinger support band again? Possible. And even then, that would still be a higher low. It would be breaking down underneath, I believe, like 5.5 range. And that'd be unfortunate. And that could still be a little bit resistant before breaking out above. But if it hits like Bollinger support band down below around 4.5 and bounce from here, that would still be a very bullish development because that would be a higher low. So overall, I don't really care. I think CIFR is still doing pretty good. CIFR Bitcoin, it's been outperforming Bitcoin since like March of 2024. It looks like it wants to break into through the cloud, but it's not able to. So I think that if CIFR's over Bitcoin chart, if this is going to break inside the cloud and break above, then CIFR has a good chance to outperform Bitcoin because it's just been consolidating sideways for way too long, way too far, way too long. This is probably one of my favorite charts here. I have a position, so we'll see what happens. IREN, as I was showing you before, IREN, initially I was hoping that it would find some support or at least kind of correct sideways through time, right? This is actually not a bad look. Like it didn't want to correct sideways through time. It wanted to just go ahead and correct through price real quick. So to me, it seems like they want to push price up for Bitcoin further, higher soon, rather than just letting it kind of consolidating sideways. It just wants to go up real fast and go down real fast and hit some pretty critical support areas over here. I would say it's pretty critical support down here around like the $8 to $9 zone because of the boomerang support band and because of also just the fact there's some price history over here. That would be the next logical back test on the kind of back test this area over here, which is exactly what it's doing. So if I was, and I don't want to buy IREN at this stage anymore. I think it's a hold, but if I was going to buy IREN, like this is going to be around the area where I would buy into, like anywhere around like $8 to $9. That would be a good area. The downtrend is also on declining volume, right? So I think that eventually it does look like sellers going to end up getting exhausted here around the $8 to $9 range, and you're going to end up having some demand coming because it's. I think I'm not the only cat that's really looking at this chart and saying, "Oh yeah, $8 to $9. Oh yeah, $8 to $9. Logical area to buy again." I'm probably not the only cat thinking that. So, yeah, initially I was really kind of cautious up here. Like I wanted to buy more, but I did not because I really did expect price to minimally come back down to maybe around like 11.4, 11.2 range and up broken underneath of that. I was wondering when I was just going to correcting through time, but I ended up not doing that. I ended up breaking down underneath and get back to the boring support band underneath, right? So this is kind of how we are looking at this chart right now. Is we're at some of the more critical support underneath, and the closer we get to support on declining volume, I think the more bullish you should be. Yeah, and then the bullish band is not really telling you too much. I mean, it's contracting because price goes sideways, but it's not really telling you too much right here. So we'll see. I think at this point, the next immediate thing is try and find support. And when it's getting closer to like a pretty good support zone, I think the thing you really should be thinking about is really more not selling, but whatever you want to do is not financial advice. Hit the arc right here, hit a very important like halfway zone over here at 0.5 Fibonacci levels. Not able to hold at the 0.382. Initially, I think it could potentially end up just going sideways here. Nope, it decided to correct through price, came back down, found some pretty strong support zone down here with the boring support band. So we'll see what happens. I think we're at a good area, and it might end up going sideways for a little bit longer, but we'll see what happens. IREN over Bitcoin, yeah, it's been outperforming Bitcoin for a very long time, and right now it's just giving it away. I'm not that concerned. WULF is one of those charts that I really did not want to buy. I was like thinking, yeah, it's probably going to go correct either through price or through time. I was not going to buy here. If I was going to buy more WULF, where was I going to buy? One zone over here is $4. The other zone right here around $3, right? Those are probably in two areas that I'm going to end up buying. And then somewhere anywhere in between, I think it'd probably be potentially a pretty good deal because it would be just trying to find a higher low somewhere. I don't know where it's going to be. This downtrend over here so far is on declining volume after a big volume breakout. Just like big volume breakout over here on declining volume over here. I think we might be getting close, but I just don't know whether or not this is it or it's going to go down a lot further. The reason why I say that I don't know whether or not this is it, it's going to go down potentially a lot further to like the $3 range is not because I'm just, saying that it's going to do that, but because market support band is like right down here. The bottom market support band is around 3.2. So I totally see that potentially coming back down. You look at Ichimoku cloud, it's already down to like 2.2. Do I think it's going to go down to the cloud? No, I do not, right? The Tsubishi cloud is going to be higher. This is also a pretty important and pretty impressive area that it ended up closing today, which is right at the top of the Tsubishi cloud. And there is always a potential that it finds support over here. It doesn't have to go down to the $3 range. It does not have to go down to the $3 range, especially not on declining volume, but it could. Because if it has a wick up here, then I'd be like, okay, maybe it has a chance. But since it doesn't have a wick, I don't know whether or not you're going to end up having a wick this week or not breaking down. I don't know. We will see. But I think that if we're going to enter, I think this is a good zone to enter, and then maybe down here around $3, maybe a good zone to enter. I still think this is a very much of a bull trend, and you're going to end up really shocking a lot of people over like the next 12 to 18 months. But yeah, that's TeraWulf. Don't really have a whole lot of sophisticated things to say about it. I could keep going down further on the other miners, but I'm just going to go through them real quick here on BitDR. What it's doing is right above the upper limit support band. You can go down to like $8. I can potentially see it going down a little bit further before going up. I can potentially see it also go down a little bit further to like around 8.7. Doesn't end up go down to $8, but 8.7, that's the bottom of the weekly Ichimoku cloud. That's also entirely possible. Right now as a support at the Kijun. I'm not making these levels up right now as a support at the Kijun. Or maybe you find support right here and just goes up. I don't know. BTBT, support at the Tenkan, right? Where else could it be? How far is the more support band underneath? Well, it's down here at $3. Could it go down to 3? Possible, but you have a lot of these kinds of different support levels down here, right? 3.3, 3.4, 3.1, $3, and then somewhere down here around like 2.7. It's probably going to be the lowest it goes. Any of these would be a higher low. And the higher low could have been it. Like this could have been it because you're basically going down low volume. This could be it. But I would not be surprised if it comes down to like $3. And that would still be pretty decent. It simply just hit a strong resistance zone up here. It just had to come back down and back test some things. And if we're able to bounce off of the Tenkan over here and just go up, that would be very, very bullish. Do I count on that? I don't know. I mean, like, I'm leaning more bullish at support, leaning more bullish and more support, and leaning very bullish down here at the bottom range of the support. So that's kind of how I see it. HUD 8, where's HUD 8 doing? Yeah, HUD 8 is basically just break through the cloud on high volume and come back testing some of the support zone, broke underneath the Tenkan, broke underneath the top of the cloud. Right now, it might touch the Kijun over here on the weekly, or it might touch the bonus support band here at the bottom of Ichimoku cloud, and the rising bonus support band as a confluence, right? So I think at this point we're just trying to find some support zones underneath. So we see what happened. Hey, Vivian. CORZ, same thing. Lots of support down below, right? So I can, yeah, it's a little bit overextended, but it looks like it wants to push higher. But if need be, you have a lot of support zone down here below that it hasn't tested for a long time. And I don't like when things are overextended, but it can overextend for a very long time. So I'm not going to enter CORZ just because of my own personal risk tolerance. I just don't like things to be like that overextended. So I'm just going to leave it be RIOT. Back testing below support band is a little bit down sloping, so I'm not sure whether or not it end up holds or not. But so far, the downtrend over here is on declining volume too. So I'm not really that worried. You would hope that the bonus support band would hold and maybe just kind of go sideways here to turn bonus support band flat before pushing up and challenging the cloud again. But so far, it's just not really been able to do that. I do think that this hammer candle over here is the bottom. And I do think that this relative hammerish candle here is also a good local bottom. So I don't think it's going to go that much further. I don't think it's going to go down to like below $9. Could it go down underneath 10 again because this bonus support band is not entirely pushed up like this to provide support? Get back down underneath briefly. I can see that happening, but I don't think it's going to get it's probably not going to get lower than like $9. Is what I'm seeing. The part of the reason too is I also think that this angle here has been holding pretty well on my Gann chart. And I think it's probably end up just going consolidate a little bit further before it's able to break back up above these important Fibonacci level, like the 0.136. Maybe confluent over here with the ARC. I don't know. Maybe a few weeks going to hit, around like 13, 14 bucks. I don't know, but it does look like it could go down and like hit the angle down here to like 10 bucks. I can see it doing that. Earnings is this week. Yeah, earnings is RIOT is tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, can it hit the arc down here? Not arc. Can you hit the angle down here around like 9.6, and then just wick and then go back up? Sure. or is the earning reactions going to be pretty decent, create volatility, and just kind of whipsaw, sideways ranging up here, plus or minus 10% per day, and then just keep going up? Possible, but I do think that this hammer bottom is the bottom. I do think that this other like hammer looking kind of thing is also going to be a very important like demand zone. It might do something evil tomorrow with earnings and come back and close this gap over here, and the top of the gap is going to be like 10.05. But yeah, I mean, I think it's trying to repair its technicals here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about Riot. You guys are asking about Ethereum and asking about some of the altcoins. So I'm just going to jump right into that. Yeah, I talked about MSTR already. Inverse cat got rubbed. Thank you guys for joining. Ethereum is just stuck in range. Like, what else is there to say? It's stuck in range. There's no like more clear picture of something getting stuck in a range. Traders are entirely very, very happy right now for like the last few months. It's just stuck in range. I don't have anything else smart to say. The only thing I have to say about it is that just like the miners, like it's just stuck inside the Bollinger Support Band, and just like a lot of the miners is squeezing very tight on the Bollinger Band. And because it did touch the lower Bollinger Band already, I don't necessarily think the next move is going to be down and then up again. I think it could potentially just go up. But overall, on the higher time frame, I'm still very, very bullish. Like, it did exactly what Bitcoin did. It bounced up from a rising tangent. And the reaction from this bounce is very, very good for the month of July, forming a very, very nice like hammer candle. Oh my god, hammer candle. So I think the next move is going to be up. Like, these two are basically inside candles to this one, and maybe August is going to be unfavorable for Ethereum again, but I don't think it's going to get down that much lower. Maybe another rising 3. On the 2 week, initially, I thought it was going to do a rising 3. Like the big green candle over here, 1, 2, 3. I thought this is it, but no, you have the tank in here is negative sloping, serving as resistance. So right now you're still underneath resistance over here. So I think you have to get back over 3,400 before things can really be very, very bullish. 3,400 is going to be key. Right now it's just stuck in a range. I'm still favorable for Ethereum. Last week candles on high volume, but you have a very, very nice wick. So I actually think that there is demand down here. I'm just not sure how much further it's going to go. That's Ethereum. While I'm at it, you guys asking for a few altcoins here. I'm looking. Somebody asked Doge. Doge got rejected off the pullback support band. Yeah. Should I be super scared? Yeah, I should be super scared. No, not really. The Bollinger Support Band is not end all be all, because you have a lot of instances where things get underneath the Bollinger Support Band and it still end up just oscillating around it, and next thing you know, just end up breaking out above. So I think it's just consolidation, and I'm not that scared by the rejection. Does it have to come down? Not necessarily, because I think that these two candles over here are actually engulfing a lot of the bearish candles over here, and price looked like it had a very, very impulsive bounce up. And so where these are two inside candles to this big candle over here, So it was just basically consolidating siders trying to digest the move over here. But we are breaking underneath this horizontal zone over here that served as support here for a very long time at 14 cents. And we are getting rejected off of it, right? So I would like to see it form a little bit of a higher low and challenge that again soon. Although I really have a hard time. I'm going to say that again. I really have a hard time seeing price gets below like 12 cents. I really have a hard time seeing price get underneath this area over here, because we already tested the liquidity underneath below and we bounced. Now, do I think that on a higher time frame, let's look at a 2-week chart here and put up the Ichimoku cloud. It also got rejected here at the Kijun, like you fell underneath support and you're going to backtest the resistance, and you're not just going to push for it the first time. It's going to take time. But when it breaks above, it can be very powerful. it tested the bottom of the 2-week Ichimoku cloud almost perfectly. So I can't, like, this is the bottom of this new range over here. If you look at the cloud, you think about it as a range. This is the bottom of the range. Like, I was very bullish over here. And right here, I'm still bullish, but we're hitting resistance. So I can see, yeah, it probably just need time to kind of digest over here. But one thing that I'm also very, very bullish on Doge is because this entire downtrend over here is like on no volume at all whatsoever. So again, I can't really be that bearish on this chart when things go down on like no volume. All it takes just a little volume like this to kind of come back and do beast mode. And this volume candle over here is like nothing. Like, this is the Binance volume. Like, that volume down here is really nothing. It just pushed price already from like 8 cents already to like 20 cents, right? If you get these kinds of volume candles, you can, like, can you imagine what's going to happen? Like, right now, the real move hasn't even happened yet. We're just going sideways. Broke out, back test this level of here, Adam and Eve, like, whatever, I don't care. Like, it's just low volume chop. But overall, I still think that is leaning, bullish. Somebody asked about Cortesi. I have a position in Cartesi. I can't even say this right. I have a position in Cortesi. Cortesi's chart is not the most bullish, I gotta admit. Initially, it was looking pretty deep when price came back down and broke underneath the angle, back tested, failed. I really thought that, you're either going to hit some of the higher levels or you can go back down here first. You end up coming back down here first, and so be it, right? I think around 13 cents is going to be a very, very strong support zone, as this has proven to us before. And I think that when Cortesi moves, Cortesi is going to be pretty powerful. Just like this like a test move up here, If anything, I can see it being like a little bit of a late wave, and then it just had like an ABC correction. So the next move is probably going to be the most powerful move. How far do I think Cortesi is going to move this cycle? I don't know. It's very, very tough for me to say for sure. But I do have some of the targets up above. I can totally see it hitting back up to the arc up here, and totally see it this cycle hitting at least like some of these levels up here, at least like 0.5, 0.618 would be a reasonable level to be at. Could it go higher up to the arc? That's also possible, right? But so far, this downtrend is just really unfortunate. And Cortesi is one of the underperforming coins, if you will. So I don't know. I haven't really been buying because I've been looking at this. I'm like, I'd rather buy Doge because Doge look like it's holding support better. But I do have a position in Cortesi. I think it's going to go very well, but I just don't know how far it's going to go. Let me pull up. Yeah, it's like way underneath the Ichimoku cloud on the 2-week. It's just got a different look from Doge. So I'll see what happens. I still have a position. I'm still going to hold on to it this cycle. I'm not going to rotate into something that's more bullish, but I just haven't really talked that much about it. I do think that it's bottomed down here at like 12 cents. I do think it's bottomed, but it still has more resistance above that it needs to break above. That's all. What is ACH? ACH, Algoma Central Core. Algoma Central Core has been on a downtrend and is so far getting rejected here at the Tenkan resistance at around 9.75 exactly. So until you're able to flip this resistance to support, if you can get back into this range over here, that would be a bullish development. But until it breaks this resistance back to support, it's still a downtrend. Do I think that there's a possibility that we may have bottomed? Just like if you ask me, do I think there's a possibility that we might bottom over here? I would say I'm not seeing enough of a bullish divergence to really believe that this is the bottom. And I'm not really seeing that it's necessarily going to break above resistance because it's underneath resistance, right? Now, this is actually a 2-week chart. So on the weekly chart is a little bit different. On the weekly chart, you're seeing something that's a little bit more bullish, right? It's been using the Tenkan here as resistance down, and then it just flipped it, but you just pushed back above this week. I can see it at some point ranging down here for a little bit longer, between $9.50 to $10. I can see it ranging a little bit longer. before finding its true direction. Looking at the weekly, actually, it looks more bullish. But it's probably going to still end up taking time. You still have like tons of resistance here above. On the boomerang support band, it looks like it wants to reclaim it, but it's just now to start flattening. So I'm not sure whether or not the boomerang support band is going to serve as very good support quite just yet. Maybe ranging down here a little bit more, flip the boomerang support band more flat to use it as a better support and push price up higher. Maybe it'll do that. We'll see. All right. Solana. Oh, you guys want to talk about altcoins? Got the altcoin crowd here. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank y'all, for joining the membership, like Vintage and Leaving. You guys have been great supporters. I want to thank you all for that. Solana looks nice. Solana looks bullish. It looks more bullish than Ethereum. It's back above all the support. If Solana keeps running from here on out, if it just takes off the gate running, I would not be surprised. It would be going up on bearish divergence, but things can go up on bearish divergence for a very long time. This looks like one of the better charts because it's above a lot of the supports from underneath. I think it could go back down and like back test like 160 range before going up. Possible, even 150 range before going up. Possible, but it just looks more bullish than the other ones. XLM, that's an old coin. Stellar. Stuck in a range between Boa support band and Tenkan, but this big giant candle reclaimed the Tenkan, and that's a bullish development. Like to turn the band more flat, so it's probably going to end up going sideways for longer. If it push up above, it's still probably end up having to gravitate back to the band because it's still a little bit negative sloping, still underneath the Ichimoku cloud. So, still leaning a little bit bearish, but it's trying to repair. And that's the whole point, is trying to repair his chart. Yeah, I talked about Mara already. I talk about Mara so much. I get tired of Mara. Anybody else have any like chart requests? I think I flew through SOFI. Let's talk about SOFI. Made a video yesterday, talk about the range, saying how SOFI every single time in earnings is just gonna, be like up and down. Oh, sorry, I'll get to that in a sec. Sorry about that. Talking about SOFI I just said it's stuck in a range. I said that I can potentially see price if the MMs, if the market makers decide to do something evil, I can totally see price just coming back all the way down to like 6.3. It didn't end up doing that. Earnings actually, of course, they always beat, right? They beat like third time in a row, but I could totally see like MM just kind of going down and like touch, but not a lot of people really have calls on SoFi. I guess there's not really a whole lot of like degens that you need to really liquidate. So, and what ends up happening, like a lot of liquidities are actually like a little bit more above. So you end up eating that liquidity above. And I thought that price, if it was just going something crazy, like, if SoFi has like a 10% move, it can potentially hit up here around like 8.6, and that would be like where it get rejected. It didn't end up doing that. It ended up just hitting the top part of the Bollinger Band and also getting rejected here by the kitchen over here. And it's just range bound. This is like a very muted reaction to earnings. I like this. I want it to range sideways for as long as possible. And I can accumulate as much as I can possible underneath $8 before going up. Because I can totally see, I got too much going on here. I can totally see that is trying to Tesla right now. It is trying to Tesla. It is just stuck in this range over here, maybe for like a month or two before breaking above. I can totally see like SoFi basically is trying to pull a Tesla right now. Build up more energy sideways for longer, get people more bored about the stock, and then push up. Thank you very much. PayPal, big candle. I didn't think it was going to get above the cloud. I didn't think it was going to come back down. Like I really thought that PayPal was going to go above. I just don't know how far it's going to go and where it's going to get rejected. Is it going to get rejected here at the blue line? Is it going to get rejected here at the red line? Is it going to get rejected at the top of the cloud? It looks like it's just kind of waiting a little bit closer to the top of the cloud. This is a weekly chart, by the way, so I can totally see it kind of like people selling earnings. I can totally see it kind of closing underneath like 62, underneath 63 to end the week. I can totally see that happening. But there's nothing bearish about earnings. I just think that price just simply is ranging sideways, and the momentum is still not there. But it could be building momentum. We're still not seeing that yet. I thought the high was going to go maybe like 68. Didn't really quite get that high. Yeah, and the top of the cloud is a pretty good area where it got rejected. I like to see it going sideways, stuck inside a cloud here for like a few weeks to like a couple months before going up. Maybe end the year at like the 70s. That's where I see PayPal. STRY-USD. Let's look at this. On the weekly chart, it still hasn't done the bullish thing of flipping the blue line from resistance to support quite just yet. So I can't really be entirely too bullish on this quite just yet. And the boomerang support band is still way above. So it's still probably got some ways to go in terms of what it wants to do. Do I think that this has bottomed down here? I do. I think that this has bottomed. I hate calling bottoms, but I think this has bottomed. Yeah, the 2-week chart's not. The 2-week chart is basically showing you like this is probably the bottom. You have a very, very nice hammer candle over here. So I think this probably has bottomed, but it still has a lot of technical challenges above, right? A lot of resistance above that it needs to break back above to go up higher. LiteCoin, what are you guys doing buying LiteCoin? What is the LTC USD? What are you guys doing buying LiteCoin, man? You guys asking about XRP and TRX. Okay. I can keep talking about like these coins, but I'm gonna go through this and maybe like look at a couple more. I'm gonna look at TRX, XRP, and GMX. Then I'm probably gonna call it a day. Okay. To make my chart not that busy, I'm gonna take away all of this stuff here. I think Litecoin has found some pretty decent support. It's a pretty decent hammer so far this week. Oh, this month. Sorry, this is a monthly chart. Jeez. I don't know. Like, okay, I guess this looks kind of like XRP. I guess. It's trendless. It's got no trend. I can't. Yeah, I can't chart this. It's got no trend. If I zoom out, I do like a 3-month chart. It's a symmetrical triangle, more or less. I suppose like it's kind of more or less like a symmetrical triangle. Not perfect, but it's just directionless. Could a breakout happen, and could you end up having some pretty decent bullish things that's happened afterwards? Could it hit the previous all-time high here, and could it go up higher? It's possible. It's a pretty big flag, so I'm not sure if I call it a bull flag, but it's just kind of consolidating sideways here for a while. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't buy Litecoin because it's just directionless for so long. But I can totally see the primary trend being an uptrend, and I can totally see whenever it's done consolidating sideways, it's going to go up. How much higher are you going to able to push Litecoin? I don't know. I think if you end up having like Litecoin ETFs and things like that, maybe. But I just, yeah, like it's directionless. If I look at like the closer time frame, it's also very much directionless. Like this is a weekly chart. I'm not really seeing anything. Ichimoku Cloud just been oscillating sideways. The market support band has just been oscillating sideways, and so far we're getting rejected by the market support band. Can it break back above? Sure. But like I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of things to say about like Litecoin. It's a good trading instrument, I suppose, but I'm not gonna like buy into it. TRX Tron, the Tron coin. Hey, Tron looks pretty decent. I haven't looked at Tron for a very long time. Oh wow, yeah, this looks a very good chart. It really wants to break above the 15-cent level. Tron, who would have thought? Ichimoku, yeah, it looks pretty nice. Boomerang support band, yeah, it looks very nice. It looks just like the CIFR chart. On the monthly, yeah, monthly also looks very nice too. Who would have thought? I talked about ACH, I think, earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, Tron, what is going on? It's a bullish chart. I don't have anything else to say. Like, it's trying to break about this level, is trying multiple times. Every time when it gets rejected here at like 15 cents, you have more demand coming. So yeah, yeah, it's a bullish chart. I don't have anything else to say about it. XRP doesn't look bad. It doesn't look as bullish as Tron. I don't know, like, I don't know about the fundamentals either, though. I just don't know. I know the great Masby and the charting guy loves XRP, but this actually kind of reminds me, and I was talking about, like, the LiteCoin chart where it just kind of goes sideways for years. This is what it reminds me of. Symmetrical triangle for the most part. I think the great Gatsby, not the great Gatsby, the great Masby has a really good chart on XRP, and so is the charting guy. I think their chart actually makes a whole lot of sense. This is the market cap, so let me actually look at like the actual thing. It's they're not really diluting their stuff that much. Can't decide what to do. I looked at this before. I don't know what it's going to do. It is still underneath resistance. There's still a lot of resistance here in the short term. So if it hits like $1, sell, maybe. Not financial advice, because that's resistance. But it could bounce inside the cloud here, and it could actually end up having a breakout. It could actually end up having a breakout. Another thing that's crazy about XRP, and I'm trying to load this up here. Another thing that's crazy about XRP, and it's not perfect because you have some couple of candles over here that close outside this candle, but overall this looks like a 8-year long or 7-year long like inside candle for like a lot of these candles, and the primary trend is still up. So honestly, like, I actually agree with the great Masbia and the charting guy. I think that XRP actually could break out, and when it breaks out, like, it can surprise a lot of people. But I'm not in XRP. Okay, I might end up regretting it, but I'm not in XRP. It's still underneath resistance. It's on the monthly chart. So yeah, on the monthly, if it hits like the top of the monthly cloud here at $1, yeah, probably a good area to sell. After that, I don't know. Okay, that's all I have to say about XRP. GMX, and I do have to run in a little bit here. I'll do this, and I'll do Pepe. This is Globux Mining Enterprises. Don't know what this is. Look at the monthly chart. It's at resistance at the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud here, but it does have a nice like ascending triangle look to it. It does look like it wants to break above and get into the cloud and back test above the cloud and go up higher. It does look like it wants to have a little bit of a bullish cross here on the monthly, but you're having like relatively higher volume rejection here, so it might take longer. Probably end up maybe another month or two, but you really want to see it break inside the cloud and be inside the cloud. If it breaks underneath this ascending triangle, then it could go down a lot lower. But so far, because of the ascending triangle look, I'm more bullish than bearish, even though it's right at resistance. Would I buy this chart right there? Probably not. I would buy if it goes inside the cloud and then back test the cloud, and that probably would be where I would buy. But because right now you're still at risk for potentially breaking down, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. On the weekly, though, yeah, on weekly it's gone above the cloud. So I think that this look on a weekly on a lower time frame tells me that it wants to break into the cloud, but but it might still end up getting down here to the top of the bottom of the cloud down here too. So I probably wouldn't buy it where it's at, but does this look like a decent look to me? Yeah, it does. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Futu. You see what I'm saying? Like, it just looks very similar to that. Could it break down back into the triangle here before bouncing? Sure, but that's kind of what I'm seeing with that. Somebody asked about the Chinese stock too. I'm sorry, I'm kind of challenged when it comes to looking through all these comments. See, if you get the membership, then your request would just pop up, and I don't have to dig through your request. You don't have to. You really don't have to. Only if you want to. I'm not sure if somebody else mentioned like a Chinese stock earlier. I'm sorry if you're still here. Let me know. But SPY for grand finale. Man, you're gonna ask me to actually pay USD, USDT. I guess I'll do these small exchanges here. Ah, there you go. Yeah, I can chart something like this. Let me see. Do we have more data from other um, exchanges? No, I don't have anything to say. I mean, like it's there's not really a whole lot to chart. Let's do it daily. The daily is just looks like just consolidating sideways, like is trendless. Um, I don't, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to chart on this, unfortunately. Thank you so much, Baidu. Baidu. Let's get out of the daily here. I charted this before, and I can tell you exactly what I said from like last month. Looks like an Adam and Eve, but no confirmation. You had a bearish cross over here on the technical indication on the monthly. After a bullish cross, you lost that bullish cross. It's still a downtrend until proven otherwise. There's no confirmation. Do I think there's a good chance that we may form a bottom here around like the 80s? Possible, but there's no confirmation. You can say that this is like a inverted hammer bottom over here, but these inverted hammers they're not as good as like an actual hammer. These are not very good bottoms, and it's still underneath a bunch of resistance. I bet if I look at the 20-month here, I'm not going to like it. Yeah, I don't like it. That is way underneath. Like, can you have like a good trade where you just kind of get back above to these levels up above and be happy? Yeah, but you also have like a negative slipping point and support band. Like, there's a lot of things against it. If you buy down here, you are a little bit, trying to catch a falling knife, but this is still a bearish chart. The only thing I think going on for it would be that this could potentially be an Adam and Eve. And the only thing that's going good for it is I think the greater China market probably have bottomed. So that's probably the only thing that really makes me feel okay about this chart, but I don't like it. I'm sorry. Uh SPY for grand finale. We have one more day before this candle close. This candle on the monthly looked bearish. It's got a shooting star looking candle like that to it. And if I pull up the Ichimoku cloud, it's way above the monthly Tenkan. So I can totally see SPY do nothing or come down a little bit further to like 530 before going up higher. And that's not a bad thing because we're simply just giving all the gains from July and we've simply done nothing for July. So if you are looking at the Bollinger Band, I do think that we are just hitting the top up Bollinger Band here. We're just closing this month. So do I think that this candle over here is going to work out where this is like a major top and going to come down a lot further? I don't necessarily think that that's the case because I don't just look at one isolated monthly candle and call a trend change. That's not how it works. And but we are at a pretty important resistance level, and that's nothing to like sneeze at either. This over here, let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna do a linear scale Fibonacci here, and you can see like we just got rejected off of a very, very important Fibonacci level at the 1.618, which is natural. You expect price to do that. And when that happens, you might come back down and back test this level around like 530 or so, or just range sideways here before going up further. On the weekly chart, it's going to be a little bit more clear in terms of where I think the support levels and things like that could potentially be. On the weekly, it's just gone up on like bearish divergence, and it's just needed to cool down. But on the weekly, it's actually telling you that, yeah, maybe 530, I can see that. I'm going to pull up some of the charts up here. Initially I thought that, hey, maybe Tengen could hold this up sloping. Nope. And up just keep going down further. Whereas the next level here on the Ichimoku is going to be around 530, you know? And if we not ending up getting there this week, maybe next week we end up getting down to like the low 530s, possible, as the red line continues to point up. Does it have to get there? No. If you are looking at the, let me say, the Sabichi Cloud, we're getting pretty close to support down here at the red line, 536, somewhere around there. Could that be it for the downtrend? Kind of like how it went down underneath a little bit, could go down here further down a little bit. Could that be it? Sure, it's a possibility. Where's the Boomerang support band? Around 530. Yeah, I mean, I can totally see it going out to 530. Does it have to? No. Do I know what I'm talking about? No, not really. But if it gets down to 530, it's a pretty good confluence zone, isn't it? I mean, that seems like a pretty good area to buy. Do I think that is going to go down to like 490, 500? Probably not. I think that would change the character of the bull market if it ends up going down that far. So I think 530 might be a good area to think that might be it. The Sabrichi Cloud, 520, yeah, possible. Yeah, 520 is possible. I'm not ruling it out either. So either we bottom over here, because like these shooting star candle, they're not always the top. This shooting star here is close to the top, but it kept going, right? You have a couple of shooting star looking candles that are nowhere near the top, Um, so I don't necessarily take, like, you have another shooting star candle over here, right? And nowhere near the top, So I don't necessarily take just one candle and just call the top for that. Um, but yeah, it's like another shooting star looking kind of thing, like not the top. So I wouldn't necessarily be that worried. But if you have an important top, sometimes they're a shooting star. But if it's a bull trend, you can have a shooting star and still not be the top. So yeah, don't worry about the candle. Okay, don't worry about this candle. 540, 530, 520. The lower it gets, the more bullish I am. That's yeah, that evil mail. I don't know. You guys might want to take a look at the evil mail. But anyway, I've yapped for about an hour and a half. I'm gonna get off now. And please go ahead and back watch. I talked about a lot of things, including pretty much a lot of altcoins, a lot of Bitcoin miners, a lot of things that are going through earnings. If you ask me what I'm bullish about, I'm relatively bullish on Meta. And if you ask me why I'm relatively bullish on Meta, I would say the reason is because I think that it's already corrected enough through time and is hitting some pretty important support zone and is found support. Even on the Ichimoku, like the Tenkan is rising up. I'm relatively bullish on Meta. The lower end, the risk level that it could go down to, and it's a pretty brutal downtrend if it ends up doing that, would be like 420, 422. If it ends up doing that, it would be absolutely brutal. But that would be a very, very, very good buy zone, is my opinion. But you also basically have correct sideways over here because price just simply got way away from the blue line over here, and blue line's catching up. There's a strong possibility it might not even hit down. It might just go up from here because you already have corrected, just like Google. I was not bullish on Google. I don't care how good the earnings could be. It's just way too far overextended. It had to come back down and get closer to tanking. Probably not going sideways here a little bit. Amazon, I'm equivocal when it comes to Amazon. It went sideways for about 6 months. The Tenkan is still a little bit too far away from it. This is the risk level that you're looking at for Amazon. The risk level is probably around like 167. It could keep going up further because it's not too far underneath the Tenkan anymore. Plus, like, pretty much all the major earnings so far has like sucked. So usually what generally happens these earnings season is like yeah, but if I'm more bullish on one chart in terms of the big tech, I think Meta looks pretty good. Again, risk level 420 something, but it doesn't have to go down there. It just run from here. Is what I'm thinking. Nvidia, the correction so far, getting close back to the Tenkan over here. I totally see it going sideways here for another few months before going up. But if it ends up correcting through price and it makes a big bounce up, oh my god! I mean, Nvidia's anyway. I'm seeing some signs of trend exhaustion over here, but if it ends up coming back through price, real impulsive and bounce real impulsive, the trend can keep not getting exhausted. But right now we have good AMD earnings, so I guess Nvidia also benefits from it. But if you also just look at the weekly chart, like it's bouncing where it needs to bounce off of, which is the Kijun line over here, like 103.5. It bounced from it, and and it wants to go up because it found support. Anyway, I'm done talking. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. You guys have a good one. Okay, until next time. Bye.